All right, and we're live. Sorry we're late today, guys. We have a sometimes real estate gets messy.
Yep.
And we have a situation that could move into some thick waters soon. Or actually we're already there and could get worse. And so it surfaced this morning and we had to bring some attention to it. Good thing Jody was coming in because it has to do with a really complex thing, even though it's not her file. She was able to give us some really good insight into how to approach it. And that's what we're doing, handling some really high level, sticky stuff.
Yep.
I can't talk about it, obviously.
Right.
But something you've never seen, right?
Something I've never seen.
It's just a one of one type or one of not very many type situation now.
Yep.
Yeah. Where we may need to get the highest levels of escrow involved, the highest, and who knows, litigation's not off the table. So it's a really sticky situation. That's why it had to push this back a little bit.
And that is the reason why real estate, and I know this can translate to every industry, but I always say that there just are no two files that are the same. And it's funny to even say files, or to say transactions or whatever, or to say borrowers. But there's just like when we help someone and their goal is to buy property, there's just no two that are the same.
Yeah, and it could go smooth.
Yeah,
could go clean. Could go like this.
Yeah,
where we have
most go great.
Most go with minimal friction.
Yes.
Some home inspection things, the little thing leaking in the home inspection, or in our situation, we're buying a house. There was in the kids' room, the bed was covering where I don't know, punched or whatever, but there's a hole all the way through the wall into like the siding outside. Like, siding. So, 2x4, so maybe 4 inches, no insulation, and then drywall, and there's a hole you can touch the siding, and that was being hidden. We didn't see that when we wrote our offer. So things like that are common.
Right.
Beyond that, into things like this aren't as common, but they can certainly happen.
Right. And you need to be able to have strategy. You need to be able to think outside the box, use your resources to decision make and lead the path forward for your client.
Yeah. I mean, Dane's property, the one we were talking about, I was out of town, and so I thought of sending one of the less experienced people who's not really even on our team, just kind of in our world.
Okay.
And she knows Dane, so I thought, maybe I'll just send her. But I'm glad I sent Aiden because, of course, home inspector starts leak. There's water in the kitchen and living room, and it became a whole thing.
Wow.
I mean, it required a lot of skill. So transactions aren't always smooth, but the economy is not always smooth either recently.
Right.
So what does that mean for rates?
Well, rates have seen improvement over the past week. Yeah. So, and it's just funny how, I don't know, it's a combination. It's like a trifecta of timing, economy, right? And then just maybe this was going to happen anyways. But for me personally, for you guys, I've felt it with other people that we work with, other buyers that I've been working with for over a year. Like, I would say within the past 72 hours, we've probably had 25 people reach out to us that are like, okay, we're ready to get back on the horse. Like, let's do it. And it's like, I'm like, that's not them being so up to speed with rates, that because the news is always a week behind.
Right.
So when rates are up, they're actually down. And then when news is saying that they're going, rates have reached historical lows again, or whatever, not historical lows, but lows since whatever. Then actually they've come up a little. So I know it's not that, right? But it's just like, it's the end of the first quarter. We're stepping into spring. It's, just whatever it is. And we have felt it.
Okay.
Big time. And rates are better. They're not the best they've been in the past 90 days.
Okay.
But they're almost the best.
So let me guess then, because I don't know. Most of the time, the team's writing contracts and checking on these things. The VA rate is at 5.9.
5.99.
Hey, 5.99.
Yep.
Okay.
And conventionally, what's your guess?
So then 6.35.
Close. I mean, a 6.375 is at a small cost.
Okay.
So, and when I say a small cost, it's like less than half a point, but still that's not zero. I typically try to give a 0 point scenario. So it would be 6.49, but it's one of those times where a 6.49 is actually giving a little. So where we could help a teeny tiny bit with a lender credit,
Okay.
whereas even one less than an eighth lower is a small cost.
Yeah, but just for the VA rate to be in the 5.9s in the last couple of years, we've seen the VA rate was as high as what, like 6.75, 7 over 7. Yeah.
And then, just I don't know if how realistic it is, but so what that means for like a temporary buy down would be 3.99% for the first 12 payments, 4.99% for the second 12 payments.
Yeah.
So within the past 2 to 3 weeks, we have been seeing temporary buy down credits coming from sellers.
Okay.
We've also seen a lot of competition.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this one buyer that we've been working with for over a year, and it's hot. It's far and few between. They've only submitted like 2 offers in the past year.
Okay.
But then they found the house, and they're like, "This is it. Like, this is the one. Like, how do we put our best foot forward? What do we need to do?" And we even had great relationships with the seller side. And so they're trying to figure out a way to make it work with us. Like, we're trying to figure out a way to make this happen. And
Kailua?
Kaneohe.
Oh, Kaneohe. Okay.
And there's 5 offers. So that's a solid amount of offers, and this is above 900,000. So above $1 million, actually, above $1 million.
Single family? Townhome?
Single family.
Kaneohe would rarely be below 1.2.
It's
unique.
Small.
Okay.
But it's the one.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I think we were supposed to hear yesterday and we didn't hear anything. So I'm a little bit bummed out.
Yeah.
But so there's competition.
Yeah.
Like there is competition. And, these are the conversations that I'm having with buyers as far as like, what's the temperature? Like I do want to get, some level of a deal. And, because rates are a little bit elevated.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's not always that correlation between rates a little elevated and being able to lowball on an offer.
Depends where you're looking, right? So on our buyers on our team, we do a good job of explaining to them that it just depends on almost everything in real estate. It depends, but we were gonna help the seller. Then they decided to interview other agents, and then we gave them the game. We gave them everything, and then they were like, and in fact, it was to tell the seller like, look, if you don't see what we're showing you, then we might not be the right fit.
Yeah. And
they said, no, we respect your opinion. Like it's all data driven. We're going to sell the way that, close to what you're recommending. And then they hit us up again and said, actually, we're going to go a different direction. Bottom line is they, like most sellers, want to hear a number that's more optimistic than reality.
Right.
Most sellers want to hear that. And we'll give a aspirational price. We also give a realistic price. And so point I was getting at is they are in Eva Beach. It's a commodity. They're in a townhome in Ocean Point. There's 3 of exactly what they're selling already listed, and they're going to become the 4th. None of the 3 that are listed are selling. They're going to become the 4th. And you just can't behave that way in that market. Now, if they were in Kaneohe, especially on the lower limits of single family in Kaneohe, that's at any given time, that could be the most desirable thing on the island. The most affordable, but still pretty quaint single family home in Kaneohe. people want to be in Kaneohe, but they don't want to pay 30% more for a home. They just can't afford to get to 1.3, 1.4. And so if there is a single family at 1.1 or something, I'll take a whole career selling 1.1 single families in Kaneohe. Mililani Mauka, super desirable. People, the elementary schools, the vibe, everyone wants to be there. Even more so than Mililani Town. Mililani homes in Mililani Town, you cannot be as greedy and aggressive as you can just across the freeway. And so in 2021, in 2020, 2021, the beginning of 2022, you could kind of be arrogant everywhere, the whole island, because the rates were 2% and 3%, right? Rate shift 2022, end of the year, slow, 2023, slow. The whole island behaved in a stunted sort of way. It's interesting now how some markets are behaving so much different than other markets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because even in December of 2022, for example, even in Manoa, a home might sit, and if not priced right and if not perfect, it's just there were less buyers in the market.
Right.
But today, Manoa, Kailua, Kaneohe, Mililani Mauka, these places are hot. Whereas your friend's selling in Eva Beach going, is my realtor doing a good job? It's been sitting for 3 months and we haven't sold it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because you're overpriced and there's 3 of the same home on the market where you live. Yeah, it's a weird time.
Yeah. It's a weird time. It's
Yeah.
truly a weird time. And that's just like we've been saying it, and it's a matter of understanding and paying attention.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to a slightly newer realtor, like not that new. I mean, 5 years.
Okay. How many deals though?
Newer.
Yeah.
Newer. Yeah. So he was like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, it's not that. Like, it's not that. Like, you're not necessarily doing anything wrong. And he was like, I just need someone to tell me exactly what to do, and I'll do it, And I'm like, that's part of the problem. Like, look around, pay attention. What are other people doing? There has to be something here where you're like, oh, I feel this, like I'm getting pulled towards this, or I'm getting pulled towards trying this angle, right? To me, I feel like there's not necessarily a wrong answer, but there is a wrong answer when you can't come up with an opinion or a strategy and you can't commit there.
Grit matters. Yeah.
Grit matters. I mean, sometimes it's not always just like a checklist of, okay, if you do 1 through 10, like you're going to be successful.
That's why so many people are afraid to go self-employed real estate. Real estate's one of the most common and most thought about self-employment routes. But you could sell solar, you could sell medical devices, you could consult on the thing that you used to be good at in your W-2 job. There's all these things. And principally, this is true in most of them. But if there were a clear path and a game plan that all you had to do is execute upon certain steps, and then clients and therefore commissions would come, then everyone would do it.
Right.
Yeah. You just have to push and create.
And believe.
Push and create and believe. And sometimes you got to work 16 hours, and then someday you just take a Tuesday off if you're stressed out. You can do those things later. But yeah, grit matters. Do we have comments and questions? Oh, you answered it? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, we because we ran so late today, we're going to keep this live shorter than most. Anything else in the market or in your business that's been happening that you want to share?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's just rates are improving.
With a 5.9 VA, 5.99 VA, is it low enough that you're hitting up some of your people? Hey, might want to consider refining, or we're not there yet?
So we are refinancing some people.
Because when we had that like 5.65 window or 5.1 window 6 months ago or something, it was short-lived, and not everyone refied in those 3 days, right?
Right. A lot of people are like are we there yet again?
yeah.
You know, and I'm like, oh no, we're not. But conventionally, some are making sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have been, we've got a handful of refinances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's something to think about. I also have been thinking about just getting everyone on deck, because when you're on deck, at least you're on deck. Then you can have the
So what does that
thought.
mean to be on deck for a refi? So you bought a year ago, 2 years ago, you had to do all that, submit your pay stub
Mhm.
mess, and now you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
So to refi, you have to do all that same stuff again.
Mhm.
So get your tax returns, your pay stubs, all
Mhm.
this. So if there is a 3-day window that rates hit a low and it more than makes sense, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and it's more about the conversation. So
Uh-huh.
it's more about like, hey, if when the rate hits this ballpark, this is how much you're going to be saving, and this is ballpark how much it's going to cost. So this is how long it'll take you to recuperate this is your ROI, return on investment.
Mhm.
And kind of just like high level explaining and giving them that blueprint, so that it's like when I call, it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably call and text you and email you, and I'm gonna probably call, text, and email like a couple hundred people. I mean,
You guys need some video leverage in front of like a spreadsheet and or
yeah,
whiteboard for that.
yeah,
You send that out to 10,000
right,
and then 1,000 respond and then 500 phone calls and 100 refis or something like that.
mhm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
then there's just more, the conversations are more efficient. They're
they
more
are,
prepared.
they
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
they are. I got to do that. I definitely have to do that, and then just send it out. That has to do with organization too, right? Because it's like making sure it goes to the people that we closed versus the people we didn't close.
Mm.
And I mean, it's
Whatever.
fine if they did close, but I'm just saying, like, versus like getting it. I guess it's okay even if you're still in the
For
in the
refis,
hunt.
that's the main thing. You can refi anyone, right?
We can refinance anyone. I guess I'm talking more about like the people that are
Didn't buy.
didn't buy yet.
I see.
Yeah.
Jody question. Neil Brum says, what's the investor rates look like now?
So the investor rates are actually really good. Hold on, Kat just sent me those.
I wonder, when you say investor, what put in the chat? What are you thinking about investing in?
So single family home, we're looking at like a 6.875.
Oh, it's not bad
That's
for his recent history. It's really good.
We were sitting at 7.5 for so long.
Yeah.
It was like, it did not matter.
Yeah.
It did not matter if you were putting 25, 35, 45% down. It didn't matter. Like the market didn't want to incentivize investors in any capacity.
He says condo.
Condo.
So condo would be more like, if you're putting, okay, well, let me give you 20% down, because that was 25. So condo is more like condo 20% down is more like 7.375.
7.3.
Yeah.
Be careful investing in a condo. When I hear investing in condo these days, I have more caution than I used to. I used to point out that if I were out of state, and so now I have plumbing and electric and siding and all of these things that I don't live in the state, I'm not there to manage. I like having the HOA as my partner. You know, I only have to take care of what I have to take care of, usually just like appliances and what's in the four walls. And that is still an advantage. However, when you have soaring insurance costs and assessments and maintenance fees, I that equation is different today. And so if you're going to invest in a condo, like, what are you investing in? Pre-construction? Are you trying to midterm rent it? I don't see many great investment plays in condos in Hawaii today. There's not a lot of them. Turtle Bay, Ko'olina, different story. Those are resort areas. Those are short to midterm rental, areas. But you see a lot of the condos in Hawaii, very wealthy people, even international, who are buying condos as a hedge, as a storage of wealth, rather when they could buy businesses, buy stocks, do other creative things with their money to potentially make more. They know that it's a secured, it's an asset that's secured by, it's a real estate secured asset, and they're storing their 2 million in that, and then they have their 20, 30, 40, 50 million elsewhere. So if you are like, I don't know who you are, maybe you are worth 50 million, but just on a scale of things, there's more people who aren't, right? And so chances are, if you're investing in condos in Hawaii, you have a more common net worth. And make sure you talk to someone or us before you make that decision. Yeah, because hate for you to get into a place, not have really underwritten the numbers, be negative cash flowing a lot, and then it get even worse depending on insurance stuff. But all right, we're going to wrap this one up. I hear my team out there going over escrows. I know Jody has meetings on Tuesday, so hit us up. Go to coreteamhawaii.com, fill out the contact form at the bottom. We'll see you guys next Tuesday on time, hopefully. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Jody. Oh, boy.